Welcome. Living in the end and living from the end is a marvelous subject that is highlighted in one of my favorite books from the master, Neville Goddard. Awakened Imagination, Chapter 7, Creation is Finished. What are some of the keys to enable us to live from the end? And for those of you new to Neville, what does that mean to live from the end? It is key and very important if you want to manifest your goals. Let's take a look at how right now. Today's information is actually very deep, yet highly practical, and those who want a true, deeper understanding will stay with me till the end. Neville Goddard helped us understand how creation is finished and how to live in the end and exactly what that means. Neville wrote 10 books, actually 11, but 10 are listed here in this marvelous compilation of Neville's teachings. If we zoom in on this book, Neville Goddard Collection, which I highly recommend, you'll see that in 1952, he wrote the book, The Power of Awareness. In 1954, the follow-up, Awakened Imagination. It is from these two books that I'm going to extract the meaning and application for you today. Chapter 10 of The Power of Awareness, Creation, is one of the books we will extract meaning from. And Creation is Finished, Chapter 7 of Awakened Imagination, is the other. Today I will extract meaning from Creation is Finished and the importance of living in the end. And I shall simplify for you as much as possible for your application in your life. So, again, I invite you and dare you to stay with me. First, we'll have a look at the chapter Creation, which is chapter 10 of The Power of Awareness. In part, Neville says the following: creativeness is only a deeper receptiveness for the entire contents of all time and all space, while experienced in a time sequence actually coexist in an infinite and eternal now. In other words, all that you have ever been or ever will be exists now. Creation is finished means nothing is ever to be created. It is only to be manifested. That in mind, notice the following at the lower part of the page. The fact that you can never be anything that you are not already or experience anything not already existing explains the experience of having an acute feeling of having heard before what is being said, or having met before the person being met for the first time, or having seen before a place or a thing being seen for the first time. Have you ever had that experience where I know I've been here before? I've had, or you have an experience, and really, it's what's called and defined as déjà vu. Déjà vu is that feeling that you've already experienced it before. And why? Because it actually already exists. The Cambridge Dictionary defines déjà vu as the strange feeling that in some way you've already experienced what is happening now. It's a feeling of déjà vu. When I met her, I had a strange feeling of déjà vu. The sense of déjà vu, she had a nagging sense of déjà vu. Memories seemed to float up like fragments of a dream, remembered as, again, what is called déjà vu. So it's an experience that you feel that you've already had. Neville stated that you can never be anything that you are not already, or experience anything not already existing. Again, friends, stay with me. I know this is deep, and you may have to watch this again and again to fully understand. And, of course, I highly recommend reading those 2 chapters of the 2 books given. As Neville says in a correlated book, which is Out of This World, chapter 1, that the spiritual view, on the other hand, sees the contents of time. It sees events as distinct and separate objects in space. The past and future are a present whole to the spiritual view. What is mental and subjective to the natural man is concrete and objective to the spiritual man. Simply put, this means that all past, present, and future are present. However, the future has an infinite amount of outcomes that we can possess and experience if we apply the laws of the universe and how to manifest. Now, I'm going to break that down again, as I have in my past videos, of the methods used to manifest. This is simply to help you understand what we are conscious of, what we can bring about in our life can be manifested through the methods given. And we can actually predetermine our future through the use of our imagination and our mind and what is referred to as the 4th dimension, where all things exist and simply need to be occupied us, first in imagination and then physically in our world. As Neville states, whatever is there to be seen before it occurs here must be predetermined from the point of view of man awake in a 3-dimensional world, the physical world that we see, feel, and experience physically as our actual reality can be modified and predetermined by us, therefore manifesting our desires. We must occupy the state desired, the concept that we wish to be, have, or do. Whatever your goal is, you must occupy it in imagination first. As Neville states here, you can be anything you please if you will make the conception, the goal, the desire, the outcome, habitual. Any idea which excludes all others from the field of attention discharges in action. The ideas and moods to which you constantly return define the state with which you are fused. Now, here comes the part of application. Therefore, train yourself to occupy more frequently the feeling of your wish fulfilled. This is creative magic. It is the way to work toward fusion with the desired state, and, I might add, see it become visible in your world. This is what I've spoken about before, about consciousness and feeling that you already have it using your imagination, and the meditations that I've also shared on my channel of how you can dwell in it, visualizing that it's already yours. You've seen my video on visualization. You may wish to revisit it. Through these practices, the practices that I give you in my channel, based on successful use of the law of assumption, is the way to realize your vision, your goal, your desired outcome, to be, have, and do that which you wish to do, have, and be in your life. We must have it in our imagination first, and it must be conveyed through our imagination to where it already exists, and then it can become reality in our life. And so Neville adds from Creation is Finished, chapter 7, that instead of being completely forgotten, let it, your desire, your imagined outcome, remain in the atmosphere, communicating its influence automatically to your actions and reactions. A mood, often repeated, gains a momentum that is hard to break or check. So be careful of the feelings you entertain. Habitual moods reveal the state with which you are fused. It is always possible to pass from thinking of the end, the desired result you desire to realize, to thinking from the end. And here we tie in the concept of thinking and living from the end. He says the crucial matter is thinking from the end. For thinking from means unification or fusion with the idea, whereas thinking of the end, there is always the subject and object, thinking individual, and the thought. So if you're thinking of it, it's out there. It's something that you hope will be. If you're thinking from it, it's subjective. It's already yours. And that is what we need to achieve. Stay with me. You must imagine yourself into the state. Again, see my video on visualization. I'll leave the link now. You must imagine yourself into the state of your wish fulfilled, in your love for that state. In doing so, live and think from it, and no more just of it, as a someday I hope it will happen. If you do so, you will pass from thinking of to thinking from. By centering your imagination in the feeling of the wish fulfilled as already yours. Now, I give my kudos to all those who have stayed with me, because let's get more into practical application. How can we develop that belief? Neville says that we must become a drinker and an eater of the ideals you wish to realize. You have to really spend time meditating and believing it true. He says you need to have a set, definite aim, that's your goal, or your mind will wander. And wandering, of course, it eats every negative suggestion. Oh, I don't know how I can do it. I don't have the money. I don't have the education. I don't have the circumstances. I don't know how. This is against me. That's against me. All of your lack and inability. Let that aside, because, as he says, if you live right mentally, everything else will be right. But there must be the effort for that change through those meditations and study. By a change of mental diet, Neville says, you can alter the course of observed events. Notice that? By a change of mental diet, you can actually alter reality. But unless there is a change of mental diet, your personal history remains the same. And this is where I encourage you to get that Neville Goddard collection and begin to read, study, meditate, and apply. It will give you much more along the lines of everything that I share on my channel on how to manifest. As Neville says, you illuminate or darken your life by the ideas which you consent. Nothing is more important than the ideas on which you feed, and you feed on the ideas from which you think. If you find the world unchanged, everything stays the same, I've not been able to manifest my desires, it's a sure sign that you're wanting infidelity to the new mental diet. Yes, you have to stay faithful to the processes which you'll see on my channel. Neville says, which you neglect those processes because, he says, in order to condemn your environment. It's much easier to not take personal responsibility and blame others, to not put in the time to read, to study, meditate, and practice the methods that I've given based on the laws. Neville says, if you want to make changes, he says, you're in need of a new and sustained attitude. So friends, are you willing to make the effort? I encourage you to do so. And again, reading Neville's works is a marvelous way to fill your mind and feed your mind with the right premises and methods and processes that you can practice. Again, I encourage you to start to purchase and read Neville Goddard's books, such as this one, Neville Goddard Collection. You can also find all of his works online, along with his lectures, which are amazing. Begin to feed on these and begin to make those changes through the practice of the law of assumption. In doing so, you will learn to live in the end and live from the end through those practices.